Welcome to the Grace Period, where we get real about attorney mental health and well-being and pull back the veil in the high-stakes world of big law. I'm your host, Emily Logan Stedman, a commercial litigator, partner, and someone who believes there's always room for a little more grace, even in this high-stakes profession. Here, I share real stories from my own journey in big law and invite you behind the scenes, past the billable hour, to talk about what it means to stay human in a demanding field. Whether you're a lawyer, a legal professional, or someone trying to find your footing, this space is for you. Let's pull back the curtain, start the conversation, and find our grace period together. Disclaimer: the views and opinions shared on this podcast are mine alone and do not necessarily reflect those of my firm or any organization. This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It does not constitute legal advice, and listening does not create an attorney-client relationship. Hi, and welcome to episode 46 of The Grace Period. I want to apologize up front if you hear my dog Oxford in the background. He's a 3-year-old English bulldog who is quite vocal, much more vocal than the breed is usually, so you may hear him barking. Today, I want to talk about something that happens quite often in the law, especially for litigators, but I think for a lot of us, and it was something that I wasn't expecting or anticipating, and that's when you have highs and lows simultaneously, when the highs and lows collide and you're left navigating something like emotional whiplash. If you've been in law or really any high pressure profession for any amount of time, you probably know what I'm talking about. One minute you're celebrating a win, a big motion granted, a big day in court, great feedback from a client or a boss, maybe even a long-awaited promotion. And then, while you're still processing that win, a tough decision lands on your desk or in your inbox, a deal falls apart, or a client calls with bad news, or you get some constructive criticism from an attorney senior to you that you work with. One example particularly stands out for me. In late 2024, I found out I made partner, a moment I'd been working toward for years. I was on top of the world. I walked around the office telling anyone that I'd made it, anyone who was there who would listen to me, that I had made partner. Not even 3 hours later, we received a tough order in a case I cared deeply about. The celebration of making partner, that bubble popped in an instant, replaced by disappointment and a scramble to regroup and figure out how to update the client and what to do next on that matter. It can be dizzying. The highs are high in this job, the lows are lows. And that's not to even forget to mention everything else going on in our lives. You know, as we become attorneys, we aren't just navigating the law in our careers. We're navigating adulthood, getting married, having babies, but also having miscarriages, caring for loved ones, deaths in our family, disappointing news and diagnoses. The highs and lows don't always wait their turn. They often show up together with little warning and sometimes not even a lot of time to process. So how can we handle that? Here's what helped me. First, let yourself feel both. Highs and lows, both can be true and often are true at the same time. It is okay to celebrate and be disappointed at the same time. You don't have to choose one emotion or pretend the low doesn't sting. Next, pause and reflect. Even a few minutes to breathe, step back, or free journal your thoughts, write them down, or leave a voice memo to yourself can help you process that emotional whiplash. Next, lean on your people. Share your wins and share your frustrations. Sometimes just saying it out loud is enough to bring perspective. And remember, this is all very normal. The roller coaster is part of the job. It's also part of life. You're not alone in feeling tossed around by the day's events. This even includes current events. It is 2025 after all. It's been a roller coaster for quite some time now. Over time, I've learned that grace isn't about avoiding the lows or clinging to the highs and ignoring the lows. It's about making space for both. It's about letting yourself be human, even in the middle of a demanding career. If you're riding the roller coaster today, know this: you're not alone, and you don't have to have it all together. Take a breath, celebrate when you can, regroup when you need to, and keep moving forward one step and one day at a time. Thank you for joining me on this episode of The Grace Period. I hope today's stories and reflections brought you some clarity and comfort and a new way to think about what to do when the highs and lows hit simultaneously. Remember, you don't have to choose between your well-being and your ambition. By setting boundaries, building supportive habits, and giving yourself permission to pause, you can thrive in law in big law, and even in life. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. That is the path to our grace period. Disclaimer: the views expressed here are solely my own and do not represent the official policy or position of my firm or any organization. This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It is not professional or legal advice and does not create an attorney-client relationship.